Alright, so we are continuing our series, and this session we will focus on clash management as a risk management. And most often, people think about clash detection as a geometry conflict. And technically, that's true, but I think that's explanation is far too small because the geometry is not really the problem. The geometry is the evidence that tells you that there is a problem which exists in the project. And the real risk here is because of this uncertainty, there are costs which gets overrun, there are delays, and there are rework, and there are operational inefficiencies. And this is why I believe like clash management is really a risk management, not because the software says so, but every clash is a signal for future project behavior. And that is true. We need to ask much bigger question like why do projects struggle with the clash management today? The answer is surprisingly simple because traditional clash detection is very good at finding geometries. But projects do not fail because the geometry intersect. The project fails because the decisions are delayed. There is no clear ownership. The interfaces are poorly managed, right? The software can generate tens and thousands of clashes, but it cannot tell you which are the ones which are the most important ones, right? Which are these clashes that really affects the program, and if there is any operational risk because of this clash, right? And oftentimes when you run this as an exercise, it doesn't even tell you that if the same clash has appeared few times over the past report. That interpretation still depends on the people. And because of that, repeatedly we experience the same coordination failure. People jump from project to project, continuing the same behavior. Right? There is no historical learning as to what has happened in the previous project. Historically, construction team they have operated through delayed feedback, right? The problems were discovered during the installation or after the procurement or after the fabrication, right? Commitments has already been made. The project team has become more reactive, right? The firefighting becomes normal, change orders becomes normal, but normal doesn't mean that there are efficient. It simply means that we accepted it for a very long time. And the question is, what happens when we stop accepting it? This is where I think clash management becomes very transformative because we can see the patterns, we can see the bottlenecks around coordination. The objective is no more about finding the clashes. The objective becomes more like understanding the project risk early enough to influence the outcome. This is where the predictive delivery, and once we start thinking that way, the next question really is how does that risk move through life cycle of an asset?